So why should teens start practicing yoga?
Well, teens really benefit from yoga because they start to become even more self-conscious, the hormones are flying, and they really become a lot stiffer. The pressures of homework, academic pressures, and sporting event pressures, and parental pressures, all of that is creating all this tightness and tension. And they are holding their breath, which is not natural. This is kind of an interesting exercise. You take your hand and reach it out and squeeze your fist as tight as you can. Now, what are you doing with your breath?
Holding my breath.
You're holding your breath. That's how I explain to teens and kids what yoga is all about. What you're supposed to do is breathe through tension and stress. So if you breathe through it, you'll start to loosen. All your muscles will start to loosen.
Now, a lot of yoga is also meditation. Can you really teach meditation?
Yes, you can teach meditation. They think that we're chanting, again, in a quiet room, but meditation is really about finding 5 or 10 minutes a day in a quiet space and focusing on the breath and letting your thoughts go. And taking the time to get rid of all the other distractions.
We could all learn how to do meditation. I can do it, definitely.
Right.
Now, you've done so much yoga in your lifetime. Do you have a favorite yoga pose?
Oh, that's interesting, because I always say, when I'm teaching the kids, I'll say, now this is my favorite pose, and I realize I'm saying that about every pose, but I do love them all. I tend to love the arm balances because they really make you feel strong and they're funky.
Now, why do you think that kids across the country are responding so favorably to you?
Oh, I'm your reference? No.
No, good. You like to keep yourself.
Right. I do. I can relate to kids almost better than adults, and I'll do whatever it takes to get them interested in yoga. And instead of counting to 5, which is boring, I would tell them a story, an embarrassing story that happened to me to get them, so they weren't aware that they were really holding these poses for a long time. And I think kids open up to me and they understand that there's a time and place for laughter, and also I make it challenging enough where they have to focus on what I'm saying and what I'm doing in order to keep up. A lot of times when we're doing partner poses, I insist that they find someone they don't know, that you can't have someone that you're comfortable with, because I think when kids are exposed to uncomfortable situations, that's how they learn, and that's how they get comfortable making new friends.
In your classes, do you see certain body types, or do you see all sizes and shapes?
All sizes and shapes, and what I think is really helpful, I have a lot of kids that have body image problems and even eating disorders, and that's starting to become a real problem as early as 6th grade. I've seen it.
Now, the one thing that we've talked a little bit about is you see a lot of teenage girls taking yoga, but you mentioned that in your class you also see teenage boys.
Right. I find that boys need yoga as much, if not more, than girls, especially because they're even tighter and they, have to focus on injury prevention as well. But they have the same body image questions that girls go through, and whether they're too tall and they feel awkward, or they're too small, they always wonder, am I okay? And I think that message is as pervasive with boys as it is with girls. And for that reason, yoga helps get them to a place where they really are comfortable with who they are. And that, to me, is the most important message for my kids. I want them to love who they are so they can enjoy life.
And now finally, what is the best piece of advice you can give to any teen that's watching today?
I think that yoga can help them in every aspect of their life. I really think that a lot of what I talk about in yoga class, even when we sit down, is, assume everyone in this room likes you and wants to be your friend and wants you to be successful at yoga. Because I think a lot of teens walk into a room and they think, she's here, and that girl spread a rumor about me, and they start to shut down. And I like to have kids thinking positively about themselves and others, and that's a really big message for me. And so when they get to that point where they understand the concept, that's what attracts the positive energy. That's what attracts the friendships that are healthy. And so that is a big message of mine. And so I really think in that respect, yoga helps them a lot.
Great. Thank you very much for joining us today.
Okay, thank you.